Welcome to my studio at the Duluth Art Institute, and I wanted to take you through a little bit of my process of completing these luminaires, which is what I've been focusing on in the past couple months. So I would start on the pottery wheel and throw a form, a basic kind of shape, and then trim it and cut parts away. And from there, that kind of gives me a blank canvas. And the first sort of part of my process after throwing is I sort of sketch these lines onto the piece using a needle tool. And these sketch lines kind of just give me an idea of where these ridges are going to form. And when I'm creating these ridges and these lines, I'm thinking a lot about growth patterns that we see, growth patterns in bones and in shells, patterns created by water and erosion, and sort of working with the form of the piece and the motion of the piece. So I'll just sketch these on, and that just kind of gives me a basic starting point. With every piece, I'm kind of editing and changing and working with it as the process continues. So I don't have a complete set in stone vision before I start. I kind of like to let it unfold a little bit. And that's kind of the beauty of clay, because clay pushes you along in that. So right now this is leather hard, which is perfect. It's malleable, but not so malleable that when I push on it, it bends. So it's kind of the perfect stage where I can sketch onto it and sort of get a general shape and a plan. And in this piece in particular, I'm kind of thinking of a wave form. So I cut this part lower because I'm imagining kind of a cresting wave. So these ridges will come up higher and these will be down lower. So I have this kind of sketched out on the pot. And then my next step would be to take this clay, and this clay is actually a bit drier than the clay that you would use to kind of throw a pot or form a piece. So I let it dry out a little bit, and by letting it dry out, I get these interesting kind of cracks to form on the ridges. So I kind of roll out this piece as a coil. And in making a coil, I'm kind of looking for the shape that kind of tapers on both ends. And then kind of testing to see if that fits to that shape right there that I'm going for. The next step is that I will be pinching this out. So it will actually stretch quite a bit. And you can almost start to see the cracks forming. I really, really enjoy those. I enjoy all of the things that are slightly out of my control. The kind of serendipitous things that happen either in the process of working with clay or in the kiln as glazes kind of run and mix together. So in this case, I'm kind of letting the clay crack and take shape and kind of form this ridge. And once that's formed, I'll actually attach it onto the piece. So this is kind of the beginning part of the process. I'm scooping this part of the clay. And then I'll need to get some water. Right, so the magic is the bond that you create by slipping and scoring. So by adding some water to this, that creates some clay slip. Then I put some score marks on the pot, so that will get the piece to really adhere to the pot. And when I do this, I'm really trying to kind of achieve the look of this form kind of growing out of the pot rather than being attached onto the pot. So I take some time to kind of attach these edges really well. So yeah, I'll kind of go through and refine all of these edges and then kind of pinch that out. Kind of as I'm pinching it out, it's getting thinner. It's also kind of creating these more interesting cracking patterns. And this will basically continue around the whole pot. And once I've kind of added all of these ridges that I want, I'll start cutting pieces away. And the trick is to cut away enough of the form so the light can come through. So these are intended to have light inside of them, but also not too much to where the whole form can collapse or warp in the kiln. So yeah, that's basically my process.